Hi there. We're at day 262 of our Through the Bible in 1 Year. We're doing Ezra chapters 4 through 6 today. Now, this isn't it's not put in here in the order that it is in the Bible. And here, Ezra is way back before Nehemiah. But they've put it in chronological order in which its stories and events occurred, in a historical timeline kind of a thing. So they're all mixed up but put together in timelines, so you're not reading the same thing over and over again. And today we're in Ezra 4 and 6, and then tomorrow's going to put us in Haggai for a while, and then back in Esther. So very strange, but I suppose you remember they have the foundation built of the temple after they returned to Jerusalem from Babylonian exile. So, and they had a big celebration when they got the foundation laid. There's some people that don't like it always, right? Okay. Opposition to rebuilding the temple. When the enemies of Judah and Benjamin heard that the returned exiles were building a temple for Yahweh, the God of Israel, they approached Zerubbabel and the leaders of the families and said to them, "Let us build with you, for we also worship your God and have been sacrificing to him since the time King Esarhaddon of Assyria brought us here." But Zerubbabel, Jeshua, and the other leaders of Israel's families answered them, "You have no part with us in building a house for our God, since we alone must build it for Yahweh, the God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, has commanded us." Then the people who were already in the land discouraged the people of Judah and made them afraid to build. They also bribed officials to act against them, to frustrate their plans throughout the reign of King Cyrus of Persia and until the reign of King Darius of Persia. See, politics always gets involved, right? Opposition to rebuilding the city at the beginning of the reign of Ahaz. That person, I have no idea who that is, the people who were already in the land wrote an accusation against the residents of Judah and Jerusalem. During the time of King Artaxerxes of Persia, Bishlam, Meredith, these people, and the rest of his colleagues wrote to the king. The letter was written in Aramaic and translated. Raham, the chief deputy of Sibibu, the scribe, wrote a letter to King Artaxerxes concerning Jerusalem as follows. From Raham, the chief deputy, then the scribe and the rest of their colleagues, the judges and magistrates from Tripoli, that is the people of Bilam, and the rest of the peoples whom the great and illustrious, whatever that person is, deported and settled in the city of Samaria and the region of the west of the river. Man, they're not going to tell us the letter or what? This is the text of the letter they sent to him. To the king, from your servants and the men of the region west of the Euphrates River, let it be known to the king that the Jews who came from you have returned to us at Jerusalem. They are rebuilding that rebellious and evil city, finishing its walls and repairing its foundations. Let it now be known to the king that if the city is rebuilt and its walls are finished, they will not pay tribute, duty, and land tax. And the and the royal revenue will suffer, since we have taken an oath of loyalty to the king, and it is not right for us to witness his dishonor. We have sent to inform the king that a search should be made in your father's record books. In these record books you will discover and verify that the city is a rebellious city, harmful to kings and provinces. There have been revolts in it since ancient times. This is why the city was destroyed. We advise the king that if the city is rebuilt and its walls are finished, you'll not have any possession west of the Euphrates. Artaxerxes' reply. The king sent a reply to his chief deputy, Rahab, the scribe, and the rest of the colleagues living in Samaria and elsewhere in the region west of the Euphrates River. Reading this letter, the letter you sent us has been translated and read in my presence. I issued a decree, and a search was conducted. It was discovered that this city has had uprisings against kings since ancient times, and there have been rebellious and revolts in it. Powerful kings have also ruled over Jerusalem and exercised authority over the whole region, and tribute, duty, and land tax were paid to them. Therefore, issue an order for these men to stop, so that the city will not be rebuilt until a further decree has been pronounced by me, so that you not neglect this matter. Otherwise, the damage will increase and the royal interest will suffer. As soon as the text of the king's execution letter was read, the the scribe and their colleagues, they immediately went to the Jews in Jerusalem and forcibly stopped them. You just never can get a break, huh? Rebuilding of the temple resumed. Now the construction of God's house in Jerusalem had stopped and remained at a standstill until the second year of the reign of King Darius of Persia. But when the prophets Haggai and Zechariah, son of Odo, prophesied to the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel, who was over them, Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Joshua, son of Zechariah, began to rebuild God's house in Jerusalem. The prophets of God were with them, helping them. At that time, Tattenai, the governor of, I can't say those names, okay? Governor of the region west of the Euphrates River, Shelthadar, Bazani, and their colleagues came to the Jews and asked, "Who gave the order to rebuild this temple and finish this structure?" They also asked them, "What are the names of the workers who were constructing this building?" But God was watching over the Jewish elders. These men wouldn't stop them until a report went to Darius so that they could receive written instructions about this matter. The letter to Darius. Okay, they wrote a letter to King Darius, and this is, "All greetings. Let it be known to the king that we went to the house of the great God of the province of Judah. It is being built with cut stones, and its beams are being set in the walls. The work is being done diligently and succeeding through the people's efforts. So we questioned the elders and asked, who gave you the order to rebuild this temple and finish this structure? We also asked them for their names so that we could write them down, the names of their leaders, for your information. This is the reply they gave us. We, the servants of God, of the God of heaven and earth, are rebuilding the temple that was built many years ago, which the great king of Israel built and finished. But since our fathers angered the God of heaven, he handed them over to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, the Chaldean, who destroyed this temple and deported the people to Babylon. However, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Babylon, he issued a decree to rebuild the house of God. He also took from the temple in Babylon the gold and silver articles of God's house that Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple in Jerusalem and carried them to the temple in Babylon. He released him from the temple in Babylon to a man named Sheshbazzar, the governor, by appointment of King Cyrus. Cyrus told him, "Take these articles, put them in the temple in Jerusalem, and let the house of God be rebuilt on its original site." Then the same Sheshbazzar came and laid the foundation of God's house in Jerusalem. It has been under construction from that time until now, yet has not been completed. So if it pleases the king, let us search the royal archives in Babylon and conduct it to see if it is true that a decree was issued by King Cyrus to rebuild the house of God in Jerusalem. Let the king's decision regarding the matter be sent to us. Darius' search. King Darius gave the order, and they searched the library of the royal archives, but it was in the fortress of Ecbatana in the province of Media that a scroll was found with this record written on it. In the first year of King Cyrus, he issued a decree concerning the house of God in Jerusalem. The house be rebuilt as a place of offering sacrifices, and let its original foundations be retained, its height to be 90 feet with 90 feet, with 3 layers of cut stones and 1 of timber. The cost to be paid from the royal treasury. The gold and silver articles from God's house that Nebuchadnezzar took from the temple in Jerusalem carried to Babylon must also be returned. They are to be brought to the temple in Jerusalem where they belong and put in the house of God. Darius' decree. Therefore you must stay away from that place. Canadian governor of the region was your colleagues, the officials in the region. Leave the construction of the house of God alone. Let the governor and the elders and the Jews rebuild the house of God in its original site. I hereby issue a decree concerning what you must do so that the elders of the Jews can rebuild the house of God. The cost is to be paid in full to these men out of the royal revenues from the taxes of the region west of the Euphrates River, so that the work will not stop. Whatever is needed, young bulls, rams, lambs, burnt offerings to the God of heaven, of wheat, salt, wine, and oils, requested by the priests of Jerusalem, let it be given them every day without fail, so that they can offer sacrifices of pleasing aroma to the God of heaven and pray for the life of the king and his sons. I also issue a decree concerning any man who interferes with this directive. Let a beam be torn from his house and raised up. He will be impaled on it. Wow. And his house will be made into a garbage dump because of this offense. They're going to rip the beam out of your house and impale you on it. Man alive. May the God who caused his name to dwell there overthrow any king or people who dares to harm or interfere with this house of God in Jerusalem. I, Darius, have issued the decree. Let it be carried out diligently. Okay, so as long as he's a king, nobody's going to mess with that house, right? Then Tenai, governor of the region west of the Euphrates River, and their colleague diligently carried out what King Darius had decreed. So the Jewish leaders continued successfully with the building under the prophesying of Haggai, in which we're going to read next, the prophet, and Zechariah, son of Iddo. They finished the building according to the command of God of Israel, and the decree of Cyrus Darius, king of Alexandria, the purchase of the house was completed on the 3rd day of the month of Adar in the 6th year of the reign of King Darius. Temple dedication and Passover. Then the Israelites, including the priests, the Levites, and the rest of the exiles, celebrated the dedication of the house of God with joy. For the dedication of God's house, they offered 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 lambs, as well as 12 male goats, and a sin offering for all Israel. Man, that's a lot of slaughtering. One for each Israelite tribe. They also appointed the priests by their divisions and the Levites by their groups to the service of God in Jerusalem, according to what is written in the book of Moses. The exiles observed the Passover on the 14th day of the first month. That would have been in March, right? All of the priests and Levites were ceremonially clean because they had purified themselves. They killed the Passover lamb for themselves, their priestly brothers, and all the exiles. The Israelites who had returned from exile ate it together. Ate it together all who had separated themselves from the uncleanness of the Gentiles of the land in order to worship Yahweh, the God of Israel. They observed the festival of unleavened bread for 7 days with joy because the Lord had made them joyful, having changed the Assyrian king's attitude towards them. So he supported them in the work in the house of the God of Israel. So, there you go. Oh, look, there's a psalm they threw in here. We didn't know that. Well, I guess you're going to read a psalm, huh? I thought we were done with the psalm. The Lament of the Exile, Psalm 137. By the rivers of Babylon, they were sat down and wept. When we remembered Zion, there we hung up our lyres on the poplar trees. Man. For our captors there asked us for songs, and our tormentors for rejoicing. Sing us one of the songs of Zion. How can we sing the Lord's song on foreign soil? If I forget you, Jerusalem, may my right hand forget its skill. Man, I'm not seeing this today. May my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth if I do not remember you, if I do not exalt Jerusalem as my greatest joy. Remember, Lord, what the Edomites said that day at Jerusalem. Destroy it down to its foundations. Daughter Babylon, doomed to destruction, happy is the one who pays you back what you have done to us. Happy is he who takes your little ones and dashes them against the rocks. Ew. I'm not one for dashing babies against rocks. That's just, I don't know, maybe I'm a pacifist that just can do that. So tomorrow we're doing Haggai, okay? And then Zechariah. These guys were all involved in rebuilding the temple, okay? More Zechariah. And then Esther. That just kind of have us jumping all over the place. So there you have it. That's say 262, right? Yeah, 262. Okay, we're almost down to the 100-day mark, right? And we're going to start, in about 10 or 11 days, we're going to start the New Testament in Luke. So I'm looking forward to that. But catch up on any you may have missed. You want to say you got the whole Bible in a year? And give us a like if you think about it, okay? But until tomorrow, we'll continue. See you then.